Hello TBU fans, my name is Chaos in the Sky, and I am here today with my good friend Shroomraver. We're going to be bringing you the, what do we call this now, Shroom? Is this like Union Recap, Union News? Do we even have a name anymore?
Union Power Recap Rankings, maybe?
News. We have to add in news. Power Union Recap
I thought you were
Ranking
just
News.
saying I thought you were just saying we'll just call it news.
Yes, just news in general that everyone has to read. It's reading now, like newspapers. We're going back to old school, so leave your leave your address, your credit card number, and your social security in the comment section below, and we'll send you the Union newspaper.
We will. It's
Definitely.
a fantastic publication, and I'm sure you'll love it.
Yeah, it's
And,
only
yeah.
$500 every 25 seconds. Anyways, Shroom, would you like to... Let's get into the matches. We're going to be...
Should we briefly explain the format of how we're going to be doing these videos, I suppose?
Sure.
Because it's a bit different from last season.
It is a tad different. It's not going to be too radically different. Basically what we're doing is we're going to go through all 8 matches that have happened this week. I believe it is 8, right?
Yes.
We've got 16 players, so 8 matches, yeah. So it's going to be, we've got 8 matches, we're going to go through all of them, we're going to try and keep it relatively short, try not to spend more than like 4 or 5 minutes on each one. After we finish going through all 8 matches, we will go over the power ranking list. We won't go too in-depth, because that's mainly what recapping the matches are for. We've already gone in-depth about the teams in the post-draft rankings, and then we'll be going through the matches now. So for rankings, we'll basically just be saying who's where, and maybe a quick reason why they've moved up or down.
Precisely. That is how things are going to be run this season. So without further ado, let's crack on and get into the first game. That saw Baby Eye in the St. Louis Chatots taking on Jedi Cardet and the Western Weezings. That saw a 4-0 victory for Baby Eye in his first game. Cool things on both sides. Magnetized Raikou is interesting for Jedi, fearing those ground type attacks. Disappointed to see no double slap on Jinx, but maybe he's just holding his cards close to the chest for now. Does make up for it with Choice Band Unstabbed Dragon coverage on Aerodactyl. Unnerved was a really nice idea, you know. He's seen how Heatran has been used, especially by Eric last season. People love to use that Sugarberry, so he's got Unnerved with Earthquake. Very nice idea. Baby Eye, he brings Assault Vest Sandslash called Pangolin, so he is instantly my favourite. Just brings a generally solid team. Sandslash can take 2 Hidden Power Ices from Raikou. He assesses the threats early. And as you can see, he comes out with a 4-0 win. We saw Unnerved Arrow, as we mentioned, doing a nice amount of work from Jedi. I think he maybe played a little bit badly with Raikou, and he got an unlucky Rock Slide miss onto the Granbull a bit later on in the game, which, you know, it did hinder him quite a bit at the time. But
I think all it did was change differential. He still would have lost, but he probably would have been like 3 or 2-0'd instead. Yes,
that's very true. Baby Eye, you know, he played solidly. He made good switches. We saw hints of this last season. Baby Eye, not necessarily having too much success with his builds all the time, but playing very solid games and making very good switches. That seems to be a very crucial aspect of his game that he's very good at, and he seems to be continuing it this season. Little note to Jedi, HP Ice isn't necessarily not to be expected on a Heatran, especially when you've got a Gliscor.
I've seen that on ladder before.
Yeah, precisely.
On like hyper offensive Heatrans, like base 130 special attack, it'll happen, especially on Choice Scarf variants.
Yeah, and you know, clearly this Heatran built to try and take on the Gliscor and did it pretty effectively. So a nice win for Baby Eye, an unfortunate loss for Jedi, but early days, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Anything to add on that one?
They've still got, you know, 7 more weeks to go, and it was really nice for Baby Eye to start off this season with a win. I believe he was one of the losing records from, like, one of the more losing records from last season, so it's good to see him doing better this season.
Yeah, very much so.
But, you pretty much covered it all. It was a pretty straightforward match. There, you know, there weren't any crazy shenanigans, really, but it was pretty expected and went pretty well, and you covered it well enough. I don't really have anything to add.
Nice. Well, in that case, I suppose, we'll move on to the second game. That saw Quill and his newly renamed Juventeis taking on Potato Jim and the Meath Mamoswines.
First place versus 14th.
Yeah, from last week's early on post-draft power rankings. But this did see Quill come out with a 3-0 victory, putting that one out of the bag against a very strong team. Now, Quill, mixed Zard Y is very ow versus Jim's team. They kind of all die in 2 hits or something. Maybe a few things could take a couple. But for the most part, this mixed Dragon Dance Megazord Y was looking to put in some work. And, he had some cool stuff. Medicham with Toxic. We've seen how Toxic on these powerful hitters is a good option. And Super Fang Chestnut is cool. But then there was the Togekiss set. Less said about that, the better. It was the nasty set, you all know. Jim's team, interesting to bring especially defensive Latios, not something you see it do every day. Good speed creeping across the board. Rotom Heat, good matchup against Quill's team. I would have liked to have seen him bring an offensive set. He brought a bulky one, which Rotom does very well. I would have liked to see him bring an offensive one. I think it could have maybe done him a little bit better. But defensive Rotom is always a good call anyway.
I would have liked to have seen him use it well, to be honest, is all I wanted.
Ooh. Well, I mean, this is true. It wasn't necessarily the best used. Rotom Heat went down far too early in the battle.
Wasn't it I think it was like turn 3 or 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, really early.
Took
and
that
Rotom
gunshot,
Heat,
and I think he died right after. Like, he burned and then died.
He did, yeah. He burnt the Drudigan with great building on Quill's part. He then instantly just goes for Facade.
That was great.
Really nice.
I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, very nice. The problem with that was Rotom, as we said, good against Quill's team. The fact that Rotom went down so early meant that when it came to facing Togekiss, he doesn't have Rotom anymore. Jim then has to use Mesprit, which means he then has nothing for Medicham. So it was a bit of a sort of snowball effect of Jim just losing things too early on, and that was all sort of spiraled from Rotom Heat going down quite early.
And then there's also the fact that he didn't have a Thunder Wave switch in, which is why his Mesprit became pretty useless. Yeah,
very much so. He played sort of some nice counter offense. Pangoro, Scarf Pangoro is love, Scarf Pangoro is life. Or indeed, as it comes to Quill's team, Scarf Pangoro is death. It was able to do things, pick up a couple of KOs, but Quill played very well to the extent that, by the time Scarf Extra Draw comes in, everything's weakened to the fact that he can just sweep him up and take the 3-0 win.
It was very well played by Quill. He did very well in this match. I was honestly pretty impressed. I think he was... I can't remember his exact record from last season, but he was also one of the bottom ladders with SS, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
So we've seen both of the Season 2 bottom of the ladders kind of start off strong this season. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can keep it up.
Very much so. Very interesting to see that, of course, a story for next week. There are other analytical videos talking about that. We might talk about them in a little bit. But for now, we're going to move on to the third game, and that saw Trip and the Dallas Staravias, last season's champion, taking on the very threatening team of AS Monferno and Wanzi Bayonet. Now, this was going to be a great match. One of the most offensive teams versus last season's champion. And what we see is a 3-0 victory for Trip. His team was just Eobulk with a Curum and a Lopunny, I think. I feel like that was his.
I think I can double check. I'm pretty sure that that's basically what he brought. He had Curum, Megalopunny, and then he had Mew and Vaporeon and Avalugg and some other sixth thing that I don't think hit the field.
Yeah, was it Umbreon? Did you already mention Umbreon?
Maybe. It didn't hit the field. It and Lop didn't hit the field, so I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Trip's team, I was worried that he didn't have sort of enough power to force switches too often to allow Lopunny to sweep later on. Only rocks, not a huge offensive presence among his bulk. But, he was obviously able to take advantage of what he had. Alex, he looked to take advantage of no Togetic, and from his team builder, and I quote, "If he brings Avalugg, I will scream." I believe also at some point he said he definitely isn't bringing Avalugg. He brought Avalugg. And
it walled Staraptor very convincingly.
Yes, it did.
And did damage to it with Recoil plus Rocky Helmet. It was honestly, I'm going to be one of the first people to down Avalugg because it's a coffee table. But he used it very well. Even when I say Pokemon are bad, I know that pretty much every Pokemon can have its niche, and completely stopping Staraptor was easily its niche. And
very much so.
Looking at Trip's team, Close Combat, Brave Bird, Staraptor, very likely to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the battle, the first part of the battle was kind of just Alex versus Mew, and Alex didn't win that battle. Mew just kind of sat there for about 12 turns, with Alex really not able to do too much to it. And it was especially defensive Mew, Willow, soft-boiled, knockoff, and I forget the fourth move, it might have been Heal, but that might have been Taunt. But either way,
it
Mew
was
just sat there. It was taunt.
Yeah, he
Thanks.
kept taunting. He was trying to taunt something as it switched in. I can't remember. I think it was the Megalati. No, the Rock Setter, the Registeel, I think.
Yeah. Unfortunately, of course, Alex didn't get to use that wonderful inner focus sash counter Weavile, looking to try and take out a Megalopony, which didn't really hit the field, unfortunately. So that little gimmick didn't work. And we saw, Mew giving the problems. Raptor lost its scarf. It was unfortunate. But we did see some of Alex's other gimmicks. Wonder Room Meloetta, which was there kind of really to mess with some of the big physical walls that Trip could have bought. You got the likes of Avalugg, Tangrowth around as well. So he was looking to do some Wonder Room shenanigans, and he kind of did, because we saw Adamant Head Smash Tyrantrum versus Avalugg in Wonder Room.
Now, wait a minute. He brought Wonder Room. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wonder Room switches your defense and SPDF stat, right?
It does.
So he brought that on a specially offensive Mon to use against two Mons with a high defense stat.
No, he was going to use it and then try and get into one of his powerful physical hitters and try and use it that way.
That's getting a little too gimmicky for me, but I know that that's your kind of thing, so I'll just let you continue.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I quite like the idea of this Adamant Head Smash Tyrantrum onto an Avalugg whose physical and special defenses were switched. Because I believe that would have killed about, would we say 17 Avaluggs? I think that's fair.
I mean, doesn't even the defensive one, doesn't it still die?
Probably.
If he
Let's
was
be
Life
real.
Orb, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to count that while you continue.
Thank you. I really look forward to seeing exactly how many Avaluggs that would have taken down. On my notes, I've got, do you know how I knew Alex eventually took down Mew? Because I heard him sigh with relief from halfway across the country for real. Because by the time he took down Mew, I can only imagine he was tearing his hair out trying to get rid of it. But what we do know about Alex is that he takes notice of what happened last season. He knows how to play against Trip. You literally paralyze everything on Trip's team. And that is kind of what Alex attempted to do. He paralyzed, I think, 3 things, and it did come into play. And you could see Trip kind of thinking, no, this isn't happening again. This can't happen again. Thankfully, he was able to break through. Trip played his Kyurem beautifully, I have to say. He bluffed the Scarf Kyurem like a champion. Going for Earth Powers on Registeel, and then just absolutely nailing the Megalati on the switch with an Ice Beam to take that out. That was really well played. He played Kyurem so well. Lucky crit to take out the Registeel? Maybe. If Registeel had lived that Earth Power, he could have paralyzed the Kyurem, and then Tyrantrum could have been an issue. But, you take these sort of little bits of luck where you can, and Trip, strong start for him. Mew proving problems, and a nice 3-0.
You've summed it up pretty well. I just wanted to give you these calcs, and then we can move on.
Perfect.
So, 248 HP Avalugg, because, that gives you an odd HP for a Stealth Rock.
Yeah.
I forgot to set him to level 50. At level 5 Tyrantrum. That would change a lot.
Yes.
At level 50, you've got...
Would it?
At level 50, if he was, I'm assuming he's Jolly Tyrantrum. We know he had Life Orb. I'm gonna
He was
say
adamant. He was adamant Tyrantrum.
he was really whoa.
He was.
Okay, adamant. Well, assuming it's 248 HP Avalugg with max SPDF, do we know the Avalugg set?
I forget. I think it was Max Fizdef.
Max Fizdef? Oh, probably for the Staraptor. That makes sense. So let's go ahead and put that at 252 then, and I'll just put defense plus nature. All right, so max defense Avalugg from Adamant Life Orb 252 Head Smash. 81 min from Head Smash to 97 to Avalugg's 95 HP, 184 defense. But then, if we switch over the SPDF stat, which apparently was not invested, what you're telling me, so 0, I'll just take off, no, I can leave gotta take off the defensive nature, I've gotta calc this weird. That brings it down to 66 total defense. Head Smash kills 3 Avaluggs minimum.
Oh, nice.
It does not kill 4 at max, it kills 3.7 at max.
Oh, that's not bad. That's good odds.
Yeah, it's pretty
take
good.
those odds.
Pretty good. I'll take that. Anyways, let's continue to the next match.
Yes, let's continue on to the next match, which saw the Wolverhampton Weaviles and Just Weavile taking on Slyro, and you already know his team is the Pittsburgh Pyroar.
I'm upset that you said that. Also,
no, you're not.
You're right, I'm not. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is our only, hacks really made it match this week, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. So, Sly takes the win 3-0. A brief look at some of the teams. Double Dance Landorus Therian from Just Weavile. Nice idea. Really like it. Nice and very offensive team, but he's got some good pivots and some good initiative, especially that Landorus if he really wants to get in there and get an Intimidate, and then try and switch on out into something else. So nice build on just Weavile's side. And then on Sly's team, oh look, it's a bulky Arcanine. Again.
Hey, until you beat it, you can't be that upset at it.
I've beaten it already once.
Did you really? I thought you lost to it. You got 6-0'd by that thing, didn't you?
Yes, but Season 1 I beat it.
But you're not Season 1 Shroom.
You can't prove that in the court of law.
Oh, just wait.
Not bad. Yeah, bulky Arcanine, double status, not bad. Bulky Scarf Gabalion to outpace a +1 Volcarona. That Flygon does not have U-turn. Sly, what are you doing?
Flygon had one job.
Do you even know how Pokemon work, Sly? You know? Sun shines, grass grows, birds fly, and Flygon uses U-turn. It's life. Anyway, going off on a tangent there. Sly takes a 3-0 win. He looked to be getting a bit greedy with Calm Mind Manaphy, trying to set up on the Aggron, who was at 1 HP, and he thought, oh, I can set up on it at Raw. And it was gone. There was a good amount of back and forth in this game. You know, you've got Jack, Just Weavile getting good initiative and advantage gaining with Mega Medicham, just kind of high jump kicking Cabalion in the face, which proves you don't always have to click Fake Out. You know, he's in with Mega Medicham. He could quite easily just go for the Fake Out, but no, predicts the Cabalion coming in, just go for high jump kick and take out the threat, which was nice to see. Then you got Electivire on Sly's team doing work, which is nice. A lot of us are quite invested in seeing someone like Electivire do work in the format. So it was nice to see it do that. Although, you know, then we get on to something else using electric type attacks. Thunder Punch Flygon versus Slowking was cute. It nearly did damage. And then we get to the crucial turning point of the game. Mega Medicham misses a high jump kick and Jack just loses.
What, really
How does it feel, Sly? How does it feel?
Really quick, I want to go back to that. I'm pretty sure Thunder Punch it hits like 150. Doesn't EQ do the same amount to a Slowking? Or Slowbro, whatever he had?
I believe, yes, it does.
So what's even the point?
Style points?
Fair enough. Continue on with the hacks.
Well, I thought, do you want to take the hacks? Because you've sort of been looking into it a bit more than I have.
Oh yeah, I went and did some, this is probably the thing I've put the most effort into my entire time in Pokemon in my life. So, it came down at the end of the match to Manectric and Mega Medicham on, Jack's side against Slyro's side of Alakazam, Electivire, and Arcanine. Arcanine was at about half HP, Electivire was on its last legs, it was down to about 10-15%, and Alakazam was just a little over 50, I think it was at like 54-55% total. And so I went and did some serious data crunching and looking at the team analysis to figure out if this match actually came down to hacks or not, because Arcanine came in on Mega Medicham, got the Intimidate off, so you've got the -1 Mega Medicham, and high jump kick guaranteed killed the Arcanine, but he missed, and that let the Arcanine kill it, and then I believe Arcanine killed the Manectric after, or the Alakazam did. Something did. So it came down to that, and Mega Medicham missed the high jump kick, and that gave Sly the win. So I tried to figure out if it had hit the high jump kick, if Sly still would have been the victor of this match. And looking at it, we're fairly certain that he doesn't. I wasn't able to get the Mega Medicham's exact set because Jack, for some stupid reason, does not list the items nor the natures of his Pokemon in his team analysis, which needs to be fixed because that's really annoying. So I don't know if it was Adamant or Jolly. But the way it came down is if high jump kick hit, Arcanine dies. Then either, I think Sly said he would have gone into Alakazam. So he goes into Alakazam, and Alakazam, if the Alakazam lives the -1 Bullet Punch that Mega Medicham has, so he would have to sack the Manectric. He switches into Manectric and sacks it, or he stays in and loses if he's stupid. He switches into Manectric, sacks it, comes in with Mega Medicham. If it's Jolly, it does 52 min, so there's like a 80% chance of a knockout there with Bullet Punch. If it's Adamant, it's a guaranteed kill on the Alakazam from where it's at. It's a guaranteed kill to the Electivire from where it's at. So if he had hit the high jump kick, then sacked the Manectric, and went for Bullet Punch, he won, assuming he was Adamant or he got the roll on the Alakazam if he was Jolly. So Sly had like a 10% chance of winning this game if the high jump kick had hit, is roughly what I would say.
Well, there we go. As we know from last season, Chaos is the maths man here. He does the calcs, he does the facts and figures. I just say words, really. So let's say thank you very much for that. That's really solid stuff going into that. It's interesting to see just exactly how much one crucial miss can change a game, isn't it, Sly? Isn't it? I will hold that over his head forever. But yeah, Sly takes a 3-0 win. You know, you take them how you can. Whenever you can get your wins, you just take those chances. And Sly, you know, he was able to get that opportunity to get the win. So a good start for him. So after sort of looking really in depth into that situation, very important to do so. We're going to move on.
We're going to make up the time for that, the time we've lost for me doing that. We're going to make it up at the last match. Just wait.
Oh, we definitely are. But for this one, this next match, Mono and the Tampa Bay Luxrays took on our very own Scizorsome and the Orsomerset Scizors, and this was a big result. Not in terms of scoreline, but Sizz took a 1-0 victory that I think it's fair to say we weren't necessarily expecting. Looking at the teams, Mono, why is everything called Stan? I don't understand. I'm here all week. Sorry, Chaos, I know you're probably just burying your head in your
I'm over
hand.
here just getting ready to hit stop recording and finish this myself.
Fair.
Except you're the one with the notes, so I can't do that.
Yes, can't do that. We need each other.
Don't remind me.
But yes, what we have here is Unstabbed Dragon Courage Mega Blastoise. Always important to point those things out. Dynamic Punch, Golurk, Mono, you're a bad man. You stop that right now. Go to your room and think about what you've done. What I liked about Mono's team, really good building about keeping hazards up. He has a Trapper for the defogging Mega Scizor, he's got loads of contingency to deal with the potential rapid spinning Torkoal, and he was really wanting to keep hazards up with his Scolipede, so nice building on his part there. However, Sizz very prepared for the Magneton plan. He knows that Magneton wants to trap Mega Scizor, and he's pretty much prepped for it. You know, he knows that he can take a Scarfed Hidden Power Fire, which is what Mono brought, and he knows that he can outspeed every other Magneton form, which Mono didn't bring. So he was prepped for that. Belly Drum Azu with lefties is interesting. It's lefties, not citrus, which is intriguing, but fair enough.
No, not fair enough. It's bad. It's a bad idea. Especially in a league match where people are going to, like, on the ladder even it's bad, but league match specifically where people know you have an Azu and probably expect Belly Drum to be a thing, it's like, you're not going to get enough recovery to make it work.
This is true. But he does win the award for the best moment in a TBU team building analysis video with his sick burn. Well played there. What else have we got? That's a Yawn and Raw Jolteon right there, which is still offensive. And as you'll see, it puts in the finest of work. And then Toxic Infestation Rest Hydration Gudra is disgusting, and I love it. I love Toxic Infestation. It's amazing on whatever can run it. But into the battle, it looks like Mono's plan is going well. He's getting hazards up as early as possible, but he does get unfortunate to the point where he has to sack Scolipede because of the Mega Horn miss, and then he loses his Magneton really early as Sizz completely counterplans him with that superpower speedy Scizor catching the Magneton on the switch. They both played relatively riskily early game. It worked out better for Sizz. You know, see Blastoise low rolling a Zoom Roll and has to eat a Play Rough. And then, you know, Mono playing a bit ballsily with his Magneton, and he suffers the consequences. And essentially, this was just the story of Mega Scizor can revenge things. And, you know, Sizz saved Mega Scizor very well. Nice for him to finally get Mega Scizor on his team. And yeah, he just saved it well, used it when he needed to, used it very well, and his crazy Jolteon set worked. So this is a solid win for Sizz. You know, I spoke to him after the battle. He's very confident and adamant that this is going to be his season. And what a way to start it off.
Alright, cool. I don't really have much to say. You basically listed it all.
Oh, fantastic. Are you happy to see Sizz win, though?
You know, since it was against Mono, I'm going to say yes.
Oof.
Yes, I am. Specifically, you know what, I will say one thing. Yawn Jolteon with, what was it? It had Yawn and something else stupid. It had Roar and Yawn and then 2 attacking with
yeah, I know.
HP Ice. That honestly made me happy to see that.
Yeah. I mean, you could just hear the confusion with Mono. Like,
yeah, I watched,
he was like,
I'm pretty sure, I think Mono's video was shorter, so I watched that one because I was trying to get all of these watched in time for us to do this. And
Yeah.
just hearing how confused he was as he saw the HP, like the yawn, and then the roar, and then the HP ice, it was wonderful.
It was excellent. Sizz can be a confusing person with some excellent building, and this was just one sign of it. So, with that out of the way, we're going to move on to the 6th game. That saw Bub and Munchlaxster united. Brilliant name, brilliant logo. Taking on Xenon and the Sublime Salamence.
Horrible name, okay logo.
There it is. This saw a nice, useful 1-0 win for Bub. What have we got here? The big hidden power steal Uxie. Not even bad.
I want to say before you continue that, in my opinion, Bub did really... He's got the whole make your opponents think you don't have something and then bring it out later thing down pat. Because he held on to that HP steal long enough. I think he did it with something else. I just can't remember what. There was something else that he was trying to keep it hidden, but I can't remember what it was. Well,
it was this whole matchup. It's quite clear that both of these players have been learning from what happened last season, despite not being part of it. They've watched Sky last season, it would seem. You know, Xenon has the Mega Diancie, Bub brings the threat with Hidden Power Steel, and you can tell they both know what's going through their heads, because he scouts Xenon's Protect, which Xenon goes for expecting Hidden Power Steel. Bub goes for a different move, lures Xenon into that ever so important false sense of security, and he thinks, oh, he doesn't have the Hidden Power Steel, because he goes for like 3 other moves before he finally, much later on, reveals the Hidden Power Steel on Uxie to take out the Mega Diancie. So brilliant stuff from Bub. You know, Xenon knew what was up, but Bub just kind of got the upper hand with that. And he built Uxie well. I love seeing a well-built Uxie. It's my favourite legendary. Enough investment to break various subs, including Serperials, which I believe was brought. Scarfed Fling Crook was intriguing. I can kind of see what he's going for there. You know, sometimes you want to be able to trick away a Scarf, or switcheroo away a Scarf. And he's kind of gone for the next best thing with Crook there. Xenon, Gravity, Dual Screens, Earthquake, Metagross. Not bad. Well played, Xenon.
Well played. The Gravity against a Skarmory, Rotom, Uxie team, that was beautiful. That's
really well done.
I hate to say it, but I've got to say that was just absolutely beautiful.
It was, and at the risk of triggering myself, it will also allow him to hit Hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
I'm sort of sitting in my chair, just twitching.
You're just like having from Drake and Josh, like the Josh twitch?
Yes, very much so.
Did you have Drake and Josh in Britainland?
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
No wonder we threw your team to the harbor. Your place sucks. Continue.
Oh dear. Well, I mean, there's not too much more to say on it. You know, we've mentioned some of the big gimmicks that came out. Gravity Earthquake gimmick worked, but at the cost of a burnt Metagross. What I quite liked about that was it allowed Uxie to take Toxic Spikes damage. That was cool. I wasn't even expecting it. Like, I know what Gravity can do, but it was still a minor surprise when I was like, oh yeah, Uxie can be Toxic Spike now. That's cool. This, we saw a lot of back and forth. This was just a very technical game, which I quite liked. There wasn't so many of them. There was some really not particularly close games going on this week. This one, very technical. You know, both were really, really reticent to go into their biggest threat. Xenon refused to go into Serperior. Bub was exactly the same with Infernape. But Bub was well prepped for Serperior. He kept Skarm healthy, and eventually he put Xenon in a position where he has to break. He has to go into his big threat earlier than he would have liked, and that really allows Bub to get the upper hand and take the very close 1-0 victory in the end.
Well, there you have
it.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were gone.
I'm sorry. I asked in the TBU chat earlier if anyone knew if the Metacham from earlier was the Mega Meta on Jack's team against Sai, if it was Adamant or Jolly, and now they've somehow turned into TBU investigation team and are like going and calculating the exact damage and everything to figure it out.
Perfect.
Because Jack is not around. Like, the one person who could just say it is not around.
Yeah. So instead, we've managed to get our own specialist team of detectives.
Yeah, but our specialist team involves both Riz and Quill, so I'm not sure how well it's going to go, but I'll let you know.
Oof. There it is. Hopefully, our team of detectives can get on it, but until then, we can probably move on to the 7th game of the week.
The other big win.
Yeah, well, one of the other big wins.
Oh, that's right, we haven't got another... Well, I mean, I call it the other big win because it's not the big win that we're going to finish in a minute and a half.
Very true. So, Phoenix Sunfloras, that is Rizzy, taking on the Gothenburg Garchomps and Skyrander. A convincing 5-0 victory for Skyrander here. And, you know, we talked last season about Sky's offensive playstyle. And we eventually found out that it really works for him. And fair play. But I'm not sure any of us were once again expecting the triple Scarf Core. Which he bought. Now, I think he came up against that last season in the final, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe he himself brought it. Either way, here it is again. Gardevoir, Volcanion, and Thunderous Therian. Because it's important to have all of the Scarf Nukes. No Stab, Shell Smash, Barbaracle. I like it. I'm a fan of No Stab when you don't need to. And Sky knows that. Sometimes it's just better to have the coverage. No Frostlass. I would have liked to see Frostlass on this team when I first saw it, because it puts in work against a lot of Riz's special attackers. You know, when I was thinking about Rizzy bringing his Magnetized Lucario, another cool set, he brought Extreme Speed in close combat with Magnetized and Swords Dance, which can't touch Frostlass, which he was not expecting him to bring. But I really thought that Frostlass would do a number on some of Rizzy's main special attackers. You're looking at Mega Latios, Jirachi, Nidoqueen, Tornadus.
Either they're both stupid, or you're just really stupid.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am.
You can have your existential crisis
below.
later.
Yes, this is true. But either way, offensive Suicune on Rizzy's team, nice. Hidden Power Rock, good call. Maximizes coverage against Volcanion's partners. And that is going to be what teams have to do against Sky. Maximize the coverage against the partners to Volcanion that can take those hits that Volcanion doesn't like.
Can I just interrupt for a second and say how upset I am that Sky won this match? Sky's cool, and I really like his team, mainly because he has Volcanion and Mega Sceptile. He is Mega Sep, right? Pretty sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely is, because he's calling it Malik, which makes me like it even more, because that's a character from a game I really love, is why he's named it that. But, this team was the best equipped to deal with Volcanion, because it has Suicune and something else I can't remember, but it has Suicune, which is probably like one of the best stops ever to Volcanion, because Rest to get rid of Burns, which is what's going to stop a lot of other water types from dealing with it. And he lost. His Suicune, I think it died relatively, it died to a Gardevoir using Moonblast.
Yeah.
It was a letdown, man.
Well, this is the thing. Sky he never really gave Riz a chance. You know, Riz brought the triple Carmine's Core, but I hate to say it, offensive setup versus Skyrander is not actually pseudo offensive, mixed offensive and defensive setup. It's not going to work against Sky. He has too much of an offensive playstyle. You try and set up Carmines on him, he's going to punish you for it. And you know, he never gave Riz a chance to do what Riz wanted to do. He has 3 Scarfers, he has Volcanion cleaning the game, which we love, by the way. And then Tornadus Incarnate misses a Hurricane, because obviously it does.
I like how he tried to bring setup against a team where, half of his team has an attack stat over 120.
Yeah, I don't know that was necessarily the way to go, unfortunately. Not against Skyrander. He's too offensive a player to really be fazed by that. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. Currently, on his actual team, if you don't count his bench, Skyrander has only 2 Mons with an attack stat less than 120. Jesus. Sky, stop. Actually, no, don't stop. It makes for really entertaining battles.
And those 2 Mons, by the way, are Drapion and Frostlass, which have pretty strong stab.
Yeah, they're not exactly weak.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, yeah. I say stop, but don't stop. It makes for very entertaining battles when you see that kind of hyper offense. But a strong start for Sky, taking the 5-0. And speaking of strong starts, let's go to the last game. Eric and the Bristol Bidoofs versus Daneki. Daneki. Tell me how you pronounce that. I don't actually know.
Dan.
And the St. Louis Dan. I like it. That's better. And the St. Louis Sableyes. And yeah. In this battle,
I think you mispronounced the first part of the match. It was supposed to be Mega Altaria versus Dan and the St. Louis Dead.
That's very true. We'll take a look at the teams just to sort of, you know, take a cursory glance just as a formality. Eric, Volt Switch City, because Scarf Zapdos. Max Attack, Adamant, Explosion, Custat Fori, yes. I like T-Spikes better than Spikes. They pressure Hitmontop far more. Scarfly is cool. And then there's the Altaria. He has Mono Return, Dragon Dance with Dual Healing because he can. Dan doesn't really have anything that wants to switch into a Hyper Voice or indeed a Return. So that's what he can do. He can just run as much healing as he needs, set up, and just hit Return. And then I was a bit perturbed that he actually, much like Dan, no removal of their own versus a potentially hazard stacking team on the other side. And the last thing to say about Eric's team is, oh look, it's Milotic again. Dan's side.
I love your like pseudo hatred of Melodic and Arcanine when they always work almost.
Yeah, I really want to draft them.
You better find another league, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Dan, offensive Mega Rodno, I like it. Final Gambit, Excelgor, I like it. Basically, kill his lead and then go with crazy power, I approve. And then in the battle, Mega Altaria just swept his entire team after Eric got hazards up.
It only needed the hazards and 2 DDs. I would like to give Dan a little bit of props at the start of the match because what let the Toxic Spikes get up is it was the Fortress at the start, and it Stealth Rocked against the Greninja, then I think it got scalded down to Custap range, didn't get burned, which was unfortunate for Dan, but 30% chance, what are you going to do? Pretty sure that 30% is actually 80, but Pokemon continues to lie to us with their numbers. He switched into the Spiritomb expecting the explosion, which he had, but he went for the T-Spikes instead, and it was kind of like a 50-50 thing. Either stay in, potentially, it could have been explosion, lost Greninja, it could have been, or at least heavily damaged Greninja. I don't know if it would have died or not, I haven't calced it. But, or go to the Spiritomb so that it just dies and does nothing to you. And it just happened that Toxic Spikes were Eric's decision instead. And what I do disagree with is that Dan did not have Shadow Sneak to kill it after it went for the T-Spikes, letting it get up the second layer because Spiritomb is so slow. But, it was sort of, it was a bit of, I feel like it was a bit of a, it wasn't like a misplay on Dan's part, it was definitely a good thing, because it was there, it could have happened, it could have gone either way, Eric just decided to go the other way, it was a 50-50 that just failed for Dan.
I actually think that Dan made the right play. Greninja is potentially far too important for his team.
I agree. Overall, I think he made the right play, I just wish he would have had Shadow Sneak on the Mon.
Yeah, he made the right play, unfortunately Eric was just like, nope, I will have the hazards, and he had the hazards. And then Mega Altaria came in, set up a Dragon Dance, nimbly dodged a Will-O-Wisp, which basically didn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because he had Refresh, or Heal Bell, one of the two. They both do the same thing, doesn't matter. Set up another DD, and won.
There you have it.
Yeah, there is literally nothing more to say on that game. That's all that happened. So, that is our sort of summation of the games. Now, of course, this is not just a recap of the games. These are the power rankings. So, Chaos, would you like to take us through the power rankings?
I will indeed. Hopefully they're up on the screen for you guys. We're going to start from the bottom to the top. At 16th, we have Jack and the Wolverhampton Weaviles, staying where they are from last week. He did lose this week. It was most likely due to hacks from what we've learned. Also, I have just been told in the chat that it was, in fact, a Jolly Mega Medicham. They calced the fake out. They calced the fake out damage to the Arcanine, and it had to have been Jolly for the damage that happened to have happened. So Sly did still have like a 10% chance of the Alakazam living the Bullet Punch, but I highly doubt that would have happened. So Jack is staying in 16th, mainly because of his loss. We've got Jedi in 15th, also still where he was last week, mainly because of his loss. He's just staying where he is. Then in 14th, we have Riz, who has moved down, I believe, 2 positions. I think he went from just 12th or 11th, and he's down in 14th now because he lost, mainly. Xenon is next in 13th, has also moved down because of his loss. He's moved down, what was it, 2 rankings? 2 or...
You missed one out.
I missed one?
Didn't you miss Dan?
No, Dan is above Xenon.
Of course he is, yes.
Yeah. But
sorry,
Xenon
my list is wrong.
Xenon went down by, I think, 2... Was he 11th or 12th?
He was 10th.
Oh, he was 10th. Oh, yeah, that's right. We put him above. But he's moved down 3 ranks in 13th. Dan is 12th, who is, I think, moved down the most. We moved him like 4 ranks, I believe, 8th to 12th now, because he lost fairly convincingly.
Yeah.
Then in 11th, we have Quill, who's moved up 3 spaces from 14th, showing us, I believe, when we talked about Quill, we said we weren't sure if he'd be able to use the team properly enough with so many options and the whole needing sticky webs, but not only did he not bring sticky webs, but he used it properly, so you showed us. Good job. You got 3 spaces because of it. Keep it up.
Yeah. And of course, not to mention that he did beat the team that we put at
Well,
the
that's
top
right.
of
Yeah,
our
he was a
rankings.
gym. He beat what was, in our opinion, the #1 draft of the season.
Yeah.
So, very good. Then we've got Sizz, who I believe was 13th. We moved him up 3. He's in 10th now.
Yep.
For his near 1-0 win and because of his Jolteon. Then we've got Bub in 9th. I believe he's moved up 2 spaces because of his win.
Yeah.
We weren't sure he would be able to synergize his team well, but he's done it for the first match, so hopefully he continues and gets higher. Mono, we moved down, I believe, only 1 spot simply because he lost. No other real reason. We had to move someone up above him, so he got moved down since he lost. And the one who moved up, I believe, got 2 spaces, if I'm not mistaken, is Eric for his very convincing 5-0 win. Probably would have moved up higher if it weren't for the fact that the other people, just were so much higher than him at the start because of rankings, because of their rankings.
And also, I mean, we're loath to move him up too far. He got a very, very powerful, strong, big win, but he didn't showcase the entirety of the team. That's no bad thing. He didn't have to in the game. But, it was basically a one-horse race for him there.
We've got to see some more Mons thrown in, some more skill than just the setup kill. So that's why he just got the 2 spaces. Then we have Alex, who, despite losing, is still up high. I believe he's one of the only 2 people left that have lost and are still up high. I think everyone else who's lost is in the bottom half, aren't they? Except for Alex?
I think
so. Oh, Mono. Mono and Alex are the only 2 losers who are still above 10.
And Jim.
And Jim, but I don't want to talk about Jim. He's let me down too badly. So Alex is in 6th for his loss, and then above him, moving up 1 space to basically switching with Alex is, what the heck is your name? Baby Eye, the St. Louis Chatots. I have SS on my list, and I'm like, what is SS? Oh, it's Baby Eye. Then we've got Jim, who's dropped 3 places because he lost pretty convincingly, especially to someone that we ranked so low. So we had to drop him a lot, mainly because some other people that were just beneath him moved up. 3rd, we have Sly. Sly did win, but because he won mainly off of hacks, and it was he didn't play that great, it was a near loss. It was a 3-0, but if the high jump kick hadn't missed, he very well would have lost, most likely. So we moved him down just 1 space, mainly to make room for Trip, who has made it up to 2nd place with his win, and then Sky, who has taken 1st place. Both of them have moved up 3 slots, I believe, while Sly has moved down 1, and Jim has moved down 3.
Yeah, we thought that was going to be the fairest way. Those performances from Trip and Sky, we believe, sort of warranted them coming into 1st and 2nd. So Sly, it's nothing personal.
I think Sly will be okay with this, actually, because he said he likes being lower. He likes being low so he doesn't have expectations to meet. So now you're a little lower.
He's used to no one having any expectations of him, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, it is a little weird with the power rankings after, like, the post-drank. What the heck is a post-drank? I guess after you get done drinking, you rank things. After the post-draft power rankings is what I wanted to say. That's just based off the teams. But then you have to take how people play into account. And a lot of times people end up moving not because they did bad or well, but because someone else did bad or well, and so they have to go up or down, and that just means someone else has to move to make the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Like, Sly probably would have stayed 2nd because, he won a little bit off of hacks, but he won. He would have stayed 2nd if Trip hadn't played better and needed to be moved up as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we always say, these are just our opinions having watched the games, and we do encourage you...
No, mine's a fact. The end. Jedi and Jack are definitely the worst players I've ever seen, and Sky and Trip are great. So mine is just flat-out fact.
Yeah, I mean, we do always encourage you, the viewers. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Tell us what you think. Put your power rankings down in the comment section below. Let us know where you would have ranked our teams and why.
You should definitely, if you do that, put Jedi in 19th, I say.
I mean, he wants to be there.
No, he wants 18th. I'm giving him 19th.
Fair enough. Well, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, and we know how much Jedi begs.
Ooh, well played.
Anyway, do you want to say anything before I outro us? Or would you like to outro since I introed?
Shall I? Okay,
yeah, you
sure.
go ahead. I began, you end.
Excellent, it shall be so. Well, that is, as Chaos has mentioned, going to be the end of this video. We're going to wrap things up. So thank you all very much for watching. We do hope that you have enjoyed. Stay tuned on the channel to find more analytical videos going up. Of course, we've got a brilliant roster of fellow analysts kicking around with us on this channel, so you'll be able to see all their videos. Are we going to have another one? Are we looking to another video, Chaos, at some point?
Oh
this
yeah,
week?
we're about to record it right now. We've got another video that'll be going up on the TBU.
Oh.
You were outroing, so I don't even know what you asked because I was reading something in chat because I thought we were done.
Ah, right. No, we do have another exciting video, which you'll be able to watch hopefully very soon on the Battle Union channel. It is the return of a segment that was very popular, but we'll leave it until the video goes up for you to see exactly what that is. Of course, what you can also find on this channel are the playlists of all the team building analysis videos and the battles, which have been very helpfully put together, I think, by Frito probably. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone/anyone. But you can find all the battles, all the team building videos, and all the analytical videos right here on the Battle Union channel. But we are going to get out of here. I've rambled on for far too long. So unless
you're
Chaos
good.
has
We're
anything
actually
to say-
like right at our timer. We're at 45 minutes. We did this perfectly.
Oh, fantastic!
Finally,
that is
Frito
brilliant.
isn't going to be upset with us for once in our lives.
Yes, it's taken us the entire season, but we finally got the formula down.
Even after we messed up the post-draft rankings and got it too long. Anyways,
Yes.
yeah, what Shroom said, be sure to check out the playlists. The other TBU coaches, Shroom and I have channels as well you can check out. Shroom does Pokemon stuff. I do not so Pokemon stuff. But be sure to check out all the links and leave your opinions on where we ranked people and where you would rank them in the comments below. And that's it.
Very much so. So until next time, take care, Battle Union fans. We will see you on another video. Goodbye.
Farewell.